Ladies and gentlemen, boys and gophers, welcome back to the channel. My name is Mark Roden, and today I was seaming through my scriptures that I have written on my Google Drive, and I came across one that I wrote a long time ago, and I must have forgot about it or something, but it's 13 dirt cheap luxury cars for less than $5,000. So that's what we're doing today, because I just want to get it out of there. And I don't think I've ever done really like a luxury cars list, because I don't really care too much about luxury cars. I like sports cars, but yeah, I have it written, so we got 13 of them, baby. If you are a comfy boy or an older person, I got you covered, my friend. Let's get right into the video with number 13. Okay, number 13 is going to the Lincoln MKZ. I can actually talk about this one. The rest of these cars I'm not going to be able to talk about in terms of like if I've ever actually driven one, but this one I actually can because my uncle used to have a Lincoln MKZ. It was a very, very nice car. I don't really know what generation it is. I think it's technically the first generation, but it's the only one that you can find under 5K. And they come with a 2-liter turbocharged inline-4 that makes 240 horsepower, and they are front-wheel drive, or you can get them in all-wheel drive. And yes, you can even find the all-wheel drive ones for less than 5K. So I would highly recommend doing that. Now, obviously, this being a 2-liter 4-cylinder with a turbo, very good on gas as well. So not only do you get the luxury, you get the good gas mileage. I don't know how the reliability is on these, but if I were to guess, I would say they're probably pretty good. I mean, it's a Lincoln, which is pretty much Ford, and Ford makes decent inline 4s, so it's probably all right. And it's definitely not that quick, though. 240 horsepower. I mean, 240 horsepower ain't bad. It's all right. It's just an all-around all right car. Coming in at the number 12 spot is going to the Chrysler 200. These things, man, I always forget that they even exist. I feel like the Chrysler 200s would look so cool if they were modified more, but nobody obviously modifies Chrysler 200s because they're not really a modifying car, but I feel like they could just look so good. They come with a 2.4-liter inline-4, making 184 horsepower, lots of 4s, and it is front-wheel drive. Once again, pretty much everything I said about the Lincoln MKZ applies to the Chrysler 200, although I do think the Chrysler 200 looks just a tad bit better than the MKZ. Like I said, I feel like if people started to slam these Chrysler 200s on their nuts and put some cool looking wheels on them, that they could make for some clean VIP style builds, to be honest. It's probably very reliable. Chrysler's once again a very reliable brand, and they inline 4s are really good. As a matter of fact, I had a 2.4-liter inline 4 my PT Cruiser, and that was very reliable, so it's probably pretty good. Coming in at the wonderful number 11 spot is going to the Infiniti G35 Sedan with the facelift. You could get the non-facelift version if you wanted to for less than 5K as well, but it's a little bit uglier and doesn't have as nice features in it as the facelifted one. So we're going to be talking about the facelift, my friend. Okay. It comes with the same motor that's in the 350Zs, a 3.5-liter V6, making 287 horsepower, and it is rear-wheel drive or all-wheel drive. Yes, you can find the all-wheel drive versions under 5K. I think it's actually easier to find all-wheel drive versions under 5K because everybody that's buying a G35 wants that rear-wheel drive. But either way, they're great cars. Don't sleep on them. They are kind of earlier, depending on like compared to the rest of the cars on this list. Like they are like an early 2000s car, so their interior is a little outdated at this point, but it has tons of room. It rides like it's on clouds, and it's also very fast too if you want that. Coming in at the number 10 spot is going to a car that I should be including in more of my list in general, the Cadillac DTS V8. Yes, technically the V8 is part of the name, so if you're talking about the car, you gotta say that. Don't ask me why. It's Cadillac. They do weird Cadillac things, okay? Okay. They come with a 4.6-liter V8, making 292 horsepower, and it is front-wheel drive, which is questionable. I mean, you got 300 horsepower in a V8 that's front-wheel drive? I don't know. I mean, obviously this car wasn't meant to be fast, and it has all the luxury that you can need. It's a big body boat of a Cadillac, but it would have been really cool to see this thing rear-wheel drive, just saying. I feel like this car would have been modified a whole lot more, actually, if it was rear-wheel drive. I feel like a lot more people would have bought these things up. But either way, still a very good car. They are a Cadillac, which is technically a GM product, so this probably some sort of like, definitely not an LS. It's probably like an LT motor, if I were to guess. Like I said, I wrote this list so long ago, so I forgot like everything about these cars, but it's probably pretty freaking good. Coming in at the number 9 spot is once again actually another car that I can talk about because I've actually driven this one, and I forgot to mention it in my video where I ranked all the cars I drove. Makes me a little angry, but it is a Volkswagen Passat B7. My friend's girlfriend has one, and one time I drove them all to a bar because I was the only sober one, so I was driving it. But it's a very nice little car. It comes with a 1.8 liter turbocharged inline-4, making 170 horsepower, and it is front-wheel drive. I've also driven lots and lots of Volkswagen Jettas before in the past, especially around the same time that the B7 Passat was built. And I can tell you that a Passat is, if you're looking for straight up luxury, is just a 10 times better Jetta in every way. It literally is just a larger Jetta with more space, nicer interior, nicer in every way. But if you're looking for sporty, like cool points, then I would obviously go with the Jetta. But either way, these things also come in wagons, by the way. So if you want a wagon Passat, that's baller as hell. Just an all-around good car. Coming in at the wonderful number 8 spot is going to the Audi A6 C6. To be honest with you, any Audi for less than 5K is a pretty good luxury car that you could buy for under 5K. Audi interiors are immaculate, dude. Oh my god, I love Audi's interiors. Good job, Audi. The A6 C6 comes with a 3.2 liter V6. So many sixes. What is it with the numbers nowadays? And they make 255 horsepower, and they're all-wheel drive, of course, because they're Audi. This is the same motor that was in the Audi A5 8T, which is a very respected car, and a car that a lot of people, I feel like, would like to own one day. But this one just has more space, more doors, and a better interior than the Audi A5. So yes, it does look a lot worse, and yes, it does handle and perform a little bit worse just because it's so much larger, but it's, in terms of straight up luxury, it's literally just a better Audi A5, and if you like the Audi A5, which I feel like everybody does, then you probably like this car. Coming in at number 7, we're going to go to the king of luxury, Mercedes. See, this is what I mean. I told you guys before in the past that I'm not a big Mercedes fan. But I put my biases aside when I put my biases aside. And I will admit that Mercedes' level of luxury in their cars is out of this world. The Mercedes C320, my bad, W203 for less than 5K is an amazing luxury car. It comes with a 3.2 liter V6, making 218 horsepower, and it is rear-wheel drive. In terms of performance, this is not really anybody's cup of tea. They don't come with manual transmissions. 218 horsepower isn't that great. They don't handle that well. They're pretty big and heavy. But in terms of straight up luxury, yeah, these are one of the best on this list. If you're looking for literally just luxury, here you go. Now, I'm not going to be sitting here telling you that you're going to have fun in it, and I'm not going to be telling you that you're going to, be able to drive it reliably. But luxury, there you go, partner. Coming in at the number 6 spot is going to Volvo S80. This is an oddball. I don't think I've ever once in my videos even mentioned a Volvo S80 before in the past. I don't even talk about Volvo enough, to be honest, but the Volvo S80, underrated luxury car. Volvo in general is an underrated luxury brand, dude. They make some very nice cars. It comes with a 2 liter turbocharged inline-4, making 240 horsepower, and it's front-wheel drive, or you can get an all-wheel drive version. That is exactly the same motor, horsepower, and drivetrain that the Lincoln MKZ had that we put at number 13. So you may be like, well, why is the Volvo all the way at 6th place if the MKZ is at 13th? Because it's a Volvo. This thing is going to last you until your granddaughter is dying, okay? You're fine. You are completely fine if you buy one of these things. You drive it forever. It's also probably a whole lot lighter than the MKZ because Volvos are smaller. It's safer because it's a Volvo. They're like the safest cars on the planet, and they look incredible. I'm going to start including the Volvo S80 in more list. I like this thing. Coming in at the number 5 spot, Jerry is going to the Lexus LS430. The LS in LS430 stands for Let's Scrabble. The LS430, the Lexus in general, with the LS models that they produce, have been just some of the kings of luxury, especially when the LS400 came out, dude. It was beating like BMW 7 Series. Okay, like that's how good these LS cars in terms of luxury they are. They come with a 4.3 liter V8, making 290 horsepower, and it is rear-wheel drive. Yes, that's a lot of horsepower, but keep in mind that these are very heavy boats of cars, so no, they're not that fast, unfortunately. And they only come with automatics anyway, so not really looking for any sort of sports stuff out of the LS430. In terms of the V8, though, you may be worrying. You may be like, oh no, hold on, hold your horses, Mark. V8 in a Lexus? Hold on. Don't worry. Lexus's V8s are like the most reliable things in the world. It makes no sense. It's like made out of titanium, so you're alright, buddy. Coming in at number 4 is a car that you probably glance right over all the time because people glance over the performance version of the car, and it's the Cadillac CTS. Nobody even talks about the CTS V, let alone the actual base model CTS, and it's mind-blowing because these are still very, very good cars. In terms of looks, I'm actually not a big fan of them at all. I think they look very just boring. But in terms of everything else, they're pretty good. Comes with a 3.6 liter V6, making 263 horsepower, and it is rear-wheel drive. Very good combo. Also, being rear-wheel drive, pretty cool. They do come with a manual too, so you can actually turn these CTS cars into a little bit of a sports car if you wanted to. But in terms of the actual luxury too, it's a Cadillac. There's a reason why old people like these things. They're comfortable. They are just nice little American Rolls Royces, my friend. I have a friend who has a brother who owns a Cadillac CTS, and from what I can tell, he freaking loves that thing. He's owned it for like 4 years now, which is a lot for a car guy, so that's pretty good. Coming in at third place, bronze medal, is of course a BMW. I love BMWs, and BMW just does everything so good. It is the BMW 328i E46. This is actually another car that I can actually speak on with experience, because I've been in an E46 multiple times now, and I've driven one actually, and they're great. They come with a 3-liter inline 6, making 190 horsepower, and they are rear-wheel drive or all-wheel drive. With the one that I drove was like slammed on the ground, had like a quick release steering wheel, had stretched tires, so I did not get to experience any of the comfort that it has stock, but it is, from what I can tell, it rides nice. Like, it rides nicer than my 350Z does, and it was way lower than my 350Z was, and that's mind-blowing to me. Everything that made by BMW is pretty freaking comfortable, pretty, in terms of luxury, pretty good. The only thing is, that same E46 that I did drive is now blown up, so the reliability is a little bit of an issue, but besides that, it's a really nice car. Coming in at second place is a forgotten little luxury vehicle from the land of the United Kingdom, the Jaguar XJ8. This looks like a car that was built in 1942, but also built in 2022. It makes no sense and it confuses the crap out of me, but here it is. It comes with a 4-liter V8, making 290 horsepower, and it is rear-wheel drive. It's also pretty lightweight compared to the rest of the cars on this list. It also looks incredibly unique. It also looks very good once you modify it and slam it on the ground. Now, the only bad side of the XJ8 is it's a British car, okay? And it's a British V8, nevertheless. So most likely, I'm not 100% sure on this, so don't quote me on it, but most likely the Jaguar XJ8 is probably the most unreliable car on this list. But that's okay, because you're not buying an XJ8 to be reliable. You're buying an XJ8 to be a bougie, cool-looking, comfortable, old man of a driver, and that's what the XJ8 does. Coming in at first place, Thomas, the tank engine, is going to Acura TL 3rd generation. I love this car. If you've been watching this channel for more than 2 seconds, then you know how much I love this car, because I talk about it in every single freaking one of my videos that I have possible. I made a deep dive on it, and it got like 100,000 views, so obviously a lot of you guys also like this car, and it just checks all the boxes, man. Like, I'm sorry that I constantly bring up the 3rd gen TL, but it's just good in every way. It comes with a 3.2-liter V6, making 258 horsepower, and it's front-wheel drive. No, that's pretty good. Like, that's pretty average for this list in terms of performance. Not anything super crazy, but not bad either. But then you get into everything else about it. A, it's a Honda, so it's obviously incredibly reliable. B, it's very luxurious, especially for a Honda. It has a very, very nice interior. C, is it looks incredible. In my opinion, the best looking on this list, hands down. Maybe besides like the Volvo S80, because that thing looks pretty cool too. Or maybe the E46. The E46 looks pretty nice too. But everything else about it is great too. It's just a good car. Tons of customization for it. You can make it look aggressive and like a track build, or you can make it VIP style and make it look very nice and bougie. It just checks literally all the boxes. It's also decently quick, comes with a manual transmission. You could buy the Type S, even though that's not going to be under 5K, but still, you could buy that one and even get more power and performance out of it. It's just a good car. Acura TL 3rd gen, if you're on a budget, honestly, I think everybody should look into these cars. But ladies and gentlemen, I lost the hat from the beginning of the video and I gained my glasses. That's what happens when I start talking over a camera. That is just random things, baby. That's the end of today's video, though. The